Hello. Sorry about that. I was playing with audio settings. I made a couple of notes having looked back at yesterday's footage and realised that the voice and music was quite low. So I'm going to see if... I should probably have tested this before I started streaming, but that would involve me being a professional, and I'm very clearly not one of those. So, in yesterday's plethora of episodes, we got to Fire in the Gloom, which is our quest to go down into the Tamtara Deepcroft for the very first time, which is quite a nice place. So that is what we are going to do today. But first, on the road to 60. First, I'm going to repair our gear because it is always worth keeping that up to scratch. Also unlocked at level 16. As soon as you unlock Fire in the Gloom and you get to go into Tamtara, you get duty related leveling unlocked. This is an excellent way to level up, especially leveling up second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever jobs. I'm not going to do that because we're already so far ahead of the curve when it comes to this is a level 16 dungeon. We are level 24 and just going into it for the first time. So yeah, we're a little bit overpowered. Well, not overpowered because we will be synced down, but we're a little bit ahead of the curve. Right, I don't know what the queue time is going to be like. I know we're on the same data center as Ragnarok, so, and all the other kind of EU worlds, so it shouldn't be too long. But because we've only got 2 dungeons unlocked, and there can't be that many people around our level, this may take a little bit of time. I keep going force of habit to click our mounts. So I think what we're going to do, just while we wait, is we're not exactly exploring, but I'm going to go and unlock a couple of other aetherites that I know we're going to have to come back to at some point in the future for the story. We're not going to do any of the fates because, again, XP is not something that I'm after. Average wait. See, I'm not used to this as a tank, having to actually wait for dungeon queues to pop. I'm assuming that will improve as we go up the levels, but that's again one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I'm intrigued by the general new game experience. There we are. So we've unlocked the East Shroud, and what we want to do is head over here to the Hawthorn Hut. And our tuner cells to that. It's interesting being able to see the whole map from the start. If you start off in Gridania and you are a conjurer or something like that, then you'll spend a reasonable amount of time at this particular location. Alright, oops. My spacebar is still a little bit sticky, and in fact, I was doing some writing earlier, and the keys were playing up a little bit, and so I'm not entirely sure what's wrong. I have the whole impression that my keyboard, after I took it apart to clean it, thinking that for the long-term health of it, that would be a good idea. I have the sneaky suspicion that I've actually made it worse. South Shroud. Gonna go and sort out Quarry Mill. Gotta watch out around here because the mobs are actually around our level. Yep. There we go. Right, so this is dungeon number 2. This is the Tamtara Deepcroft, which is, as we heard in the story yesterday, an old Gulmoran ruin where the Gridanians have been interring their dead for a long time, and now we've got some weird void ritual going on here. If anything's purple, you know it's void based. Now there are a lot of winding paths in this particular dungeon, which inexperienced tanks will think, oh yeah, we need to go this way and do this, that and the other. It's like, actually you don't. There are a lot of things down here that you simply can ignore and everything will be fine. Where's my food? There's my food. Now, these beginner dungeons essentially can be done with very... Arguably, you can do them without a tank. Because you basically are. I mean, at this level, your tanking classes have got no threat stance. You are just reliant on what few abilities you've got. As long as your healer's half decent, you should be alright. So, whilst a lot of people will not do what I'm doing and pull multiple packs at once, you can get away with it if you know what you're doing. Which, of course, I do. That was me hitting stun as opposed to what I meant to hit, which was convalescence. The reason for that being that I normally have convalescence on control 6 and muscle memory is a thing. You want to hit the fleshfly swarms second because they do a surprising amount of damage. If you look at the map, there are little chambers going off all over the way. Even at this level, they're not really worth doing. Yeah, if it wasn't for the path to 60, the road to 60 buff, maybe we'd be getting slightly less XP, but as it is, I mean, we're getting plus 326 thanks to our rested XP bonus. And that's a level. Ooh, it's me getting blinded. It seems actually that they've buffed the threat that Flash gives you even more, so I'm really not struggling at all. Always try and face mobs away from your party if you are tanking, if you can all help it. This guy is much higher level. What level is he? 59, so he's getting close to 60. Staying with our 2 flashes. Should be more than enough to keep those on our case. After you've killed this priest and his friends, you want to get ready for this guy. And if you played FF11, you'll recognise these as the really cool demon mobs that happen to be around Castle's Val, or however you were supposed to pronounce it. I'm actually going to turn background music down a little bit. Yeah, keep in mind I only actually lost 8 there because I was faffing around in the menus and stopped clicking buttons. And you use the orb, which releases one of these beams. Don't really need that, but whatever. Ooh, that might have been too many. Let's be able to. Put some defensive cooldowns. People are ignoring the mobs that I've targeted, as is often the way. But we survived anyway. And the white mage isn't even down to half MP, so that's, well, maybe just a little under half MP. So that's fine. Am I going the right way? Yes. Cooldown on anticipation is only 60 seconds. So that's nice. And this is what happens when people focus on the mobs that you're not marking. Regular use of flash. We'll see you through. These guys cast thunder on them, which gives them lightning on their attacks. It doesn't do a huge amount, it just adds a slight bit of extra damage to them. You'll notice when they hit you, if it's not an ability like Dark Orb, it gives you 2 damage numbers. So 64 is the main attack, and then 24 is the lightning damage. Second orb. Disappears. Some monk stuff. I'm not going to pull those down to the next pack because the next bit is a little bit trickier. Not by much, but a little bit. Shall take all of these. There's not a whole lot of AoE abilities for your DPS at this level. Red Mage gets Scatter. So if you've got a Red Mage, you can do this. Same goes for Archer. They get, I think, Quick Notch at level 18, something like that. So they've got some reasonable AoE output. Do keep in mind, though, that Red Mages can put out a lot of damage really quickly. So they can tear aggro off you. Keep an eye out on the aggro meter. Alright, the mobs here. Realistically, you want to take out, again, the casters first. But because they will stand there, you can tank them from range. Kinda. What you don't want to do is get stuck. You want to keep these dungeons, especially these early dungeon runs, moving. A lot of people in these early runs, like that level 59 Black Mage, will be in here because they'll have taken the leveling roulette option, and that can put you, anywhere in the level range. And you need to remember that the thing that you get the most XP for when you are synced down is killing bosses. Killing bosses and finishing the dungeon. So they will want to be finishing dungeons as fast as they can. And exploring all the side rooms and going here, there and everywhere for a treasure chest with a potion in, or a high potion or something. It's a waste of their time. And to be honest, it's a waste of your time as well, because you get so many consumables and stuff just by going through these dungeons that you don't need to go out of your way. If you are on level and it's worth it, maybe, then it might be okay to go and explore the side rooms. But to be honest, the later dungeons, where things get more interesting, there aren't really any side rooms to explore anyway, so it's not an issue. When you're tanking, you want to make sure you get a decent aerial view of your surroundings so that you can see any AoEs that are being cast. You also technically want to keep an eye on this now, because one of the changes that they put into 4.3 was that you can actually see all mobs cast bars. So you know if an enemy that you're targeting, or rather an enemy that you're not targeting, is casting an ability. And that's very useful, especially if you're quick on your stuns, which I am not. But that's a mark of an excellent tank compared to me, who is just a meh. Right, this is a red mage's pipe dream at this level, because they can just use scatter and hit all of these. So what we want to be doing is standing in the middle and hitting flash as often as we have got MP to do so. You can tell when a red mage is casting scatter because he gets a little enhanced scatter icon on his bar there. It's a little red thing. We're almost done with this dungeon. The designers realised that any more than two... two. Any more than three kind of segments. Why am I not getting... I think our healer went AFK then. Yeah. So let's get rid of these. And we'll get a little mini cutscene for this. Who summons me from the void to reside within this crude vessel? Oh, we're not the only person that's new here. That's not what I wanted to do. Come hither, children of the dawn. I've got one of those. Right. So this is Galvant the Dominator. He is a mind flayer. Or a Cthulhu monster, as I've heard a lot of people call them. They are classic Final Fantasy monsters. They're also classic D&D monsters. This is a mechanic that you need to become used to, the tether mechanic. Generally speaking, if something is tethered to a mob, it makes them invulnerable or it heals them, and you want to kill the littler enemy first. Sometimes the colour of the tether can have a meaning. For example, if the tether is green, then often they are healing each other. That was bad tanking. There's a moment of indecision on my part there. Killing off the little ads at a low level like this can be very useful. Move out of the big AoE. Again, once the bar disappears, you are safe to move back in, even though the animation plays out then. It varies a little bit depending on your lag. I'm going to be killing off these imps. There's no point continuing to DPS the actual boss because he is taking 0 damage whatsoever. If you are DPSing, as soon as you fill up the limit break meter, not just on the final boss, you can use it on other bosses as well. Try not to use it on trash though, unless you've pulled a massive pack. You'll get used to that as you go through the game, when it is okay and when it's not okay. Usually if it's a bad choice, people in the party will shout at you. But there we go. You can see some of that delightful low level equipment that people wear. It's generally good manners to thank members of the party. And as I said yesterday, no, I can't e-bow because I haven't got the email yet. But I'm a bowy person. And there we go. Only one commendation that time. but that's fine. You'll usually get one. So that's that. That's a sparkle pony. That's actually the Ixion mount. And somebody is wearing a pig costume. This particular area, Quarry Mill, you'll see quite a mix of players in. Because down there, the Woodwhaler Expeditionary Captain, he's the guy that will allow you to go into the Palace of the Dead, which is something that we will get to later. It's a very, very useful place for levelling other jobs. That's a leave meet. We're just going to go down to, while we're here, I'm going to go down to Camp Tranquil. And you'll notice this is where it connects to Eastern Thanalan. There's Camp Drybone, which we've been to before. We'll be coming up that way later on anyway. The only reason we are down here right now is because we were waiting for that timer. But also, as it happens, we do need to kill some of the keg traps for the hunting log. Let's turn that back on. Ooh, there's quite a few things actually here that we need to kill for the hunting log. Need to kill 3 of these. May do the overgrown offerings whilst we're there because they are those things there, actually. These keg trap mob we will fight some more of in a dungeon, which is also up there. In fact, you can see that on the map, can't you? Yes, 1,000 Moors of Totorak, which for some reason shows up in the leveling duty finder quite a lot. It's a little bit frustrated if you're in the late 60s and you're just on that final path to level 70 and you're thrust down into a level 26-ish dungeon. Right, so these are the overgrown offerings. Oi, come back. Where are you going? Where are you going? Hello? Well, that's annoying. That's, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Weird pathing issue. As you can see, this is him leashing back to where he should be. And once they leash back, they get the hit points back instantly, which is a tad frustrating. You'll notice now that we need to kill 4 of these. Remember I was saying yesterday that it's not always 3, it's very often 3. But as you get higher level it asks you to kill more of some. You can check how many that you need. Here, so it's 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Some of them will only ask you to kill 1. Can you see? No, you can't see the higher level ones. But as I said, it is worth killing them as you go. You'll notice as you get to high level areas as well that the enemies have more in the way of abilities to use. Nothing new there for RPGs or for MMOs. Something you'll be used to. Unless this is your first video game ever, in which case, hi and welcome. Level 26, that unlocks the Rage of Halone. That's the third part of our aggro combo. So, rather than using Fast Blade to Riot Blade for our combo now, which gave us 160 so a total of 300, this gives us 160, 260, 360, 270, 270, 470, 540. So it's an increase overall. And we want to be doing that. Goblin thugs. Right. And curl claw cutters. Yeah, so they're, you can tell if they're further down the list, they're slightly higher level. And they are over here. Kind of to the south east of Quarry Mill. There are still a lot of mobs that won't aggro you. There's also these bigger mobs, which you'll notice have got a slightly different symbol next to their name. They are harder than average, harder to kill. We've also got some level 30 mobs down towards this area, so you've got to watch out. You know, if something like that. You can kill them at around like level 26 or so. But it's probably easier to drag them towards the sentries and just run. This is a very tranquil area. Not really surprising because it is called Camp Tranquil. That was an unintended pun. But realistically, we've only come here for that. You'll notice again that if you can't unlock something, but there's a quest, that's level 30. So you've got to be level 30 to be able to unlock those. And at the armours and stuff, you'll find that a lot of the gear is at the appropriate level. Right, so we want to be going back to Mother Mune. And you'll notice we are starting to accumulate some gil. We can also sell those, I must remember to do that, for an extra little chunk. The Aetheryte in Gridania that we just teleported to you, has a tendency to leave me very disoriented for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it makes you face the same direction every time, but I always seem to get confused. Right, Mother Mune. Welcome back, Demajen. I'm reliably informed that your foray into the Deepcroft was a success. Nor did I expect anything less. Badarin's ringing endorsement left me in little doubt as to your capabilities. Even so, you are to be commended. Lord Lewin asked me to pass on his thanks. I must say, it's something of a relief to be able to call upon such a capable adventurer. Sadly, death has become an ever more common occurrence within our fraternity of late. Times being what they are, the guild is constantly inundated with petitions, and we are hard-pressed to find enough hands to deal with them all. While this means no shortage of work for able souls such as yourself, it also provides ample opportunity for the inexperienced to overreach themselves, with predictable consequences. As if to illustrate the point. If he is gone, and it's all your fault. If it hadn't taken you an age to heal him, he'd still be alive. But I tried. He bolted out of range before I could finish the spell. He shouldn't have been so hard-pressed in the first place. We should have done more to lighten his burden. Bah! To the hells with this pathetic excuse for a party. I'm leaving, and it'd be too soon if I never see your faces again. Goodbye, and good riddance. I'm leaving as well. I doubt this comes as any surprise, but I never liked you. I only suffered you for your healing, but you couldn't even do that one thing right. Cruel though this may sound, you brought this upon yourself. Oh, by way of some parting advice, get rid of Avir's head. Bury it, cremate it, do whatever the hell you like with it, but for God's sake, stop carrying it around. It's just get rid of it, alright? Wait, don't leave me alone, please. I'm so sorry, Avir. Please forgive me. Scenes like this have become all too common. That makes a dozen times in half as many days. Now you see why I'm grateful for adventurers of your experience. I can send women like you on a mission without worrying that you might not return. Well, not so much, at any rate. Speaking of missions, I'd entrust you with another. About a bell ago, an hour, I received a message from my counterpart in Uldar. She seeks the services of a reliable adventurer, and you are nothing if not reliable. If you think you might be interested in this task, say the word, and I will be glad to share the details with you. Nod. Yes, so that, the scene that we've just watched with Ffxiv and Edda, that will actually be of a reasonable amount of importance as we go forward. We haven't seen or heard the last of Edda and Ffxiv and Puyo Royo. It's a very sad tale, actually, and a little bit spoopy in places. So it is worth coming back to. Ooh, hold on. Something is beeping at me. It's beeping. Right. It was Battle.net, which for some reason I've got open in the background. Okay, so this is the a level 16 quest. I think, is this our first level 16 quest? No, it's not. Can't be. Where's my list gone? Ooh, no. In fact, this is our last level 16 quest, which has got some slightly fancier gear rewards, but again, we're already past that. So, you're not averse to taking a little trip? Wonderful. As I mentioned earlier, the request comes to us from the Adventurers Guild in Uldar. Once you arrive, seek out Momodi, the proprietress of the Quicksand. Think of her as the Sultanate's version of myself. You'll notice that this text, because you do these first 3 dungeons in the same order, regardless of what city-state you come from, it's not always guaranteed that you'll know who Momodi is, which is why we get this little bit of kind of introductory text. Obviously for us, we know who Momodi is because we started out with her, and she will recognise this when we get to her. Chances are she'll send you into the midst of danger, but I have every confidence that you will pull through unscathed. Now, off you go, Demajen, and good luck. And of course, I've actually got my home point still set in Uldar. But first, I'm going to go and pick up the quest from the Gladiators Guild. Because it gives us some better gear. As I said yesterday, we are not going to be wearing that because, oh god, why would we? I mean, seriously, is that not the sexiest outfit you've ever seen? The correct answer is no. God, Demajen, no, that's hideous. We'll probably take the gauntlets instead. But we do get some new arms and armour. First Sword Myla has an important mission for you. Ah, Demajen, I must apologise for my earlier behaviour. As First Sword, my duty is not only to foster your growth as a gladiator, but to also protect you from dangers you are not yet ready to face. I did not know that Leovold had become the leader of the Alacran. Had he chosen to bear his steel at us, many and more of us would not have returned alive. I need to know why he's turned to a life of crime, and so I've ordered my best men to scour Thanalan for any trace of his whereabouts. Unfortunately, one of them has disappeared. I have strong suspicions that he's been taken prisoner by the Alacran, or worse. If there's any hope of saving him, we must act quickly. I would have you search for our missing comrade. His last report stated that he was tracking the Alacran near the Hammers in western Thanalan. If you go there, you may yet find some clues to his fates. I've been far too reckless in recent days and let too many good gladiators come to harm. Please, Demajen, find our missing comrade and bring him home safe. So this is actually nearby. It is quicker to run there than it is to go any other way. So head out of there and hang a left. Obviously all of this will change depending on which job you've got, or depending on which starting city you've got. But every class has got its own series of quests, up to level 30. Spacebar's still sticky. It's a little bit annoying. I would really rather not have to buy a new keyboard because this is a mechanical one and they are not cheap. And since I've just spent 330 quid on a new Wacom Pro graphics tablet, it's a little bit of an outlay that, you know, I can technically afford it, but I'd rather not have to. None of these mobs will aggro us. They are far below our level now. We're 26. They will, however, apparently aggro this guy who's level 6. He's level 6 and has a chocobo because he's got another job at some other higher level. It's a trap, sister. Right, as I was saying, now we want to be using this fuller combo. Obviously they do tailor the mobs that you're going to fight to the class that you're on, so you're not going to have loads of really fast and hard hitting mobs if you started off as a healer. That would be a little bit unfair. They're not really designed to pose any massive danger to you. Just enough to make it interesting. Which is kind of the point at the end of the day. That footwork buff that he was casting is it increases his evasion and his dodge. That's some fine swordsmanship, Demajen. The first sword certainly knows how to pick 'em. Even after all these years, I can't quite bring myself to call her that. See, I still remember when her father first brought her to the guild, a wee lass who cried at the sight of naked steel. But to look at her now, you'd swear she was born with a blade in her hand. Not like she had much of a choice but to rise to the occasion, though, what with all that trouble Aldous got into 7 years ago. Selfish bastard, he should never... Yeah, but enough of my rambling. I'll make my way back to Uldar after a short rest. You go ahead and tell Myla that I'm fine. Hopefully, today we will get to the stage where we get our chocobo. Yeah, it's still a ways off yet. If you remember yesterday, I was saying that the first act is like levels 1 to 15 of story quests. The level 15 to 20 stretch is probably 20 or so quests. So we've got a fair stretch to go. Yeah, in fact, we've got a dungeon and our first trial to do against a primal before we get our chocobo. So we've got a good chunk of stuff to do before we can get that. Demajen, thank the gods you're all right. I heard all about the ambush at the Hammers. Excellent work. You've been invaluable to the guild, and I cannot thank you enough. In fact, I believe you deserve a much needed rest. Take some time for yourself, and when you've recuperated, return when you've recuperated. But before you go, speak with Lutsu. I believe she has a message for you. Lutsu being the receptionist. And Demajen, the very gladiator I was seeking. Lean closer, for I'd not have the others hear my words. Aldous sends his regards and requests you meet him at the Lich Yard in Eastern Thanel. I can't talk today. Naturally, I've not divulged this information to the First Sword. As you might have gathered from their previous interaction, she's still rather upset with him, and would likely forbid any further association. Quite understandable, since he was clearly being groomed to become the next guildmaster before that horrible scandal. They would have made such a lovely couple. Forgive me. This is hardly an appropriate topic of conversation. Anyway, you've my word that the First Sword will not hear of any rendezvous from me. So we need to go out to somewhere in a bit. But first, we're going to go and talk to Momodi. Oh, that's not Momodi. This is Momodi. Welcome to the Quicksand, friend. I'm a tad busy right now. If you wouldn't mind showing yourself to... Oh! It's you, Demajen. And there I was, spouting the same tide line. Me and sent word that you'd be reporting for duty. She also made a point of calling you the adventurer at the moment. That ain't no small praise coming from her. But you didn't come all the way here to listen to my prattle. Doubtless you're eager to get started, so let's talk business, shall we? Still getting massive chunks of XP for this. It's great. Into a copper hell. The petitioner ought to be arriving any moment now. God almighty! Another second under that sun and I would have been set afire. A tankard of ale, if you'd be so kind. Excellent timing, Papashen. Just so happens the adventure will be handling your petition is here. Oh, why, if it isn't my good friend Demajen. It does my spirit well to know that you are the one who will be helping us. Maybe you'd like to appraise Demajen of a mission? Yes, of course. The petition in question was submitted by an acquaintance of mine at Abagino & Sons Mineral Concern. It relates to an unfortunate development at Copperbell Mines. We've heard about this unfortunate development at Copperbell Mines before, the last time we were in Horizon, when they sent us up. To be plain, giants have seized control of the place. These giants are of the clan known as the Hecatan. Yeah, them. Fearsome creatures who were sealed within the deepest depths of the mines during the bygone Thorn dynasty. Alas, it seems they have managed to break through the layer of rock which served to imprison them, and now prowl the tunnels where the miners ply their trade. The creatures are justifiably angry about their treatment at the hands of our ancestors, and their presence has forced the suspension of all mining activities on the site, which is why we got all those bombs and goblins outside. It's no wonder they're angry. Didn't the Thorn dynasty come to an end over 300 years ago? You know your history well, my lady. The people of that age used the Hecatan chairs to work their mines. By way of enchanted helms, they were able to bind the ferocious creatures to their will. But as is often the way in such tales, these enchantments eventually failed and the slaves rose up against their masters. In a desperate bid to contain the unbridled fury of the Hecatacares, our ancestors induced the collapse of the mine's lowermost levels. So it was that the great giant revolt was ended, buried beneath 100,000 tons of rock. Well now, it's got me thinking. I seem to recall there being an article about Copperbell in the Myth of Ally a fortnight or so ago. So the mines were being reopened so as to meet the rising demand for building materials. Like as not, our boys dug a bit too deep and freed the giants. Gods, I think the poor creatures are still alive and kicking after 3 centuries. That's a long time to nurse a grudge. They must be seething. Indeed. That makes them a danger to us all. There will be no mining at Copperbell so long as they remain. For the sake of both peace and prosperity, they must be subdued. This is the task which we would have you undertake. I not deny that the mission will be rife with danger, but our need is great, and so I beg you, put an end to this sorry business. Nod. God bless you. I feared you might have reservations, but I assure you, it is for the best. In case you don't know, Copperbell Mines are in Western Thanalan. Do take care, you hear? Oh, and one last thing before you depart. An employee of Demajen & Sons is presently at the quicksand. The fellow's name is Painted Mazer, and he knows Copperbell Mines well. It may behoove you to seek his counsel. So yeah, if you remember, we went up to the mines, we killed some bombs and some goblins, and we picked up somebody's tools that was lying around because something had happened in the mines, and now we find out actually what that was because it didn't tell us at the time. This is Painted Mazer. Looking for Painted Mazer? You found him. So, you're the adventurer who's volunteered to deal with the mess down in Copperbell, are you? Just caught an animal clone there at the corner of my eye. You got gutsmiths. I just hope you got skills to go with them, because things ain't pretty down there. Hecatonkers. I'm gonna have to look up how you pronounce that. Google. Hecatong. Hecatonkers. Yeah, Hecatonkers. They're actually Greek monsters. Hecatonker means the 100-handed ones. Also known as the Centaumanes. Giants of incredible strength and ferocity that surpassed all of the Titans whom they helped overthrow. So in mythology, in actual mythology, they've got lots of hands. Anyway, the Hecatonkers left the place in a right state nary a week after mining resumed. I don't know if you know this, but Copperbell was old, but the second old dynasty was still young, and it was abandoned centuries ago. If it hadn't been for the shortage of materials needed for the rebuilding effort, the concern would never have thought to reopen it. You know, I thought well about the giants beforehand, but the project went ahead anyway. I mean, nothing could possibly survive bearing under a mountain's worth of rock for 3 centuries, right? Wrong! The miners dug up more than they bargained for. One swing of the pickaxe too many, and they found themselves in the company of giants. Unless you can subdue them, the nation's glorious recovery will grind to a halt for want of aught to build with. The stone torches are keeping watch over the entrance in case the giants fancy some sunlight and fresh air. One of them will be able to show you the way in. The hope of the nation's resting on you, friend. Best of luck. So there we go. Teleport out to Horizon. And while we are here, I am going to sell some of this stuff. That gave us a nice little chunk. Those allag and bronze pieces do add up. What can you actually... Yes, they're there and they go up to level 12 or so. What we're going to do is head up to Copperbell, turn in the quest, and then while assuming the duty finder takes a little while, as it did last time, we'll go and meet Aldis. Though I do think that that's an instanced quest, as a lot of the low level ones tend to be. So we won't be able to do that at the same time as being in the queue for the duty finder. Oh, look who's here. Oh no. Dolorous Bear and his entire party died. Judging by the tracks, it would seem they tried to rush a horde of the creatures. I cannot say for sure what drove an experienced crew like theirs to throw caution to the wind, but I do have my suspicions. We are all our own worst critics, and our desire to better past achievements can rob us of good sense. Thus we do become more given to recklessness. Oh, I don't think I ever read that before. As an adventurer becomes more experienced, he will naturally acquire a love of justice and an understanding of the spirit of self-sacrifice. Oh man, poor Dolorous Bear. There's been an incident inside Copperbell Mines. We're here to ensure that its effects are contained, but for your own safety I suggest you stay well away from here. What? You're the adventurer who volunteered to quell the Haggan cares? I didn't think Papagen would be able to find someone so quickly, if at all. The giants are content to wreak havoc inside the mines for now, but it's only a matter of time before they think to come outside. The sooner you see to them, the better. Make ready as best you can, and enter at will. So, we can now access Copperbell Mines, which we are going to do. You'll notice that Copperbell Mines is a level 17 dungeon, because we are now doing level 17 quests. Oh! Hello. So what have we got? We've got a level 50 plus samurai, level 60 plus samurai in fact, and a couple of lobies. Why do they act? Sometimes the aggro situation is a little bit weird here. Now you'll notice that because we've been synced down to level 20, we don't have our level 26 ability available. And that's one of the issues really that I've got with the level of syncing in this game. Rather than just making the abilities less powerful and still giving you access to all the ones that you've earned, it actually takes them away. Which is a tad frustrating. But anyway, this is Copperbell Mines. There's a lot of doors in Copperbell Mines that need to be opened. There's a couple of lifts. There are some optional mobs. But generally speaking, do make sure you wait for everybody to get on the lift. Elephant. It's also quite easy to get turned around. Samurai don't have particularly good AoE, but black mages do at this level, so just like archers and red mages, you're kind of okay to pull slightly large groups if you've got those in your party. And unlike red mages, samurais don't put out quite as much threat at the lower levels. Get this guy out of the way. Because if we go down here, we're going to get a surprise. Which I imagine is what happened to poor Dolorous Bear. So you see some goblins here, which people will rush for, but also ouch. As you can see, these Hecatonchires do not have 100 arms. However, they are kind of cool looking. Right, there's a path to the left here. You can very safely ignore it. Watch out for that mob behind you guys. This is probably a bit too much. It's fine, we're getting there. To be utterly honest, I'm actually kind of surprised that I survived that. But hey. That fire stand over there you'll want to pick up in a second. If you can time it right, try and interrupt their haste buff because it does speed up their attacks and it makes life a little bit easier on your healers. He's got the fire sand, he knows what he's doing. So we've got one pinch of fire sand, and over in the corner up here we've got another, and we need two because we're going to use it here, and then pull the lever, and this takes us to the first boss of sorts, which is an interesting boss actually, because realistically all you do is kill a load of tiny little ants to start off with. And also enemies will come from up there as well. These mobs are very, very weak and basically deal no damage. So don't be massively concerned if you're a tank about running around and wasting your TP trying to grab them all, because it is a waste. No, if you're a paladin and you've got MP obviously to spare, then you can do that. This thing here is a flambeau. It's a bomb. Again, they don't do a whole lot of damage. These things don't actually have any ranged attacks, so you can just let them all charge into the centre and just grab them like that. But this is the boss, the actual boss. I can't remember what Immortalize actually does. I think it makes him a lot tougher, but if you can stun him, it doesn't go off. There's a treasure chest hidden just round the corner here. There's only a potion or whatever in it. But you know, 3 vials of ether, in fact, can be useful. Right, again, make sure everybody's on the lift before you pull the lever. Otherwise it wastes a little bit of extra time while you've got to wait for them to send the lift back up, etc, etc. Okay, now we're en route to boss number 2, which is where people tend to go a little bit screwy. You want to be reasonably careful if you're going to do what I'm doing here and pull multiple packs. You'll notice that I pull those with Provoke. That's not really how you should use Provoke. But it is how you can use Provoke. It's got a much longer range, 25 yards versus the 15 yards of shield lob. But what it does, it puts you at the top of the aggro list. But only for a second. It doesn't give you a lead, it just puts you literally 1 point of aggro over the other. So you still need to follow up with an ability that actually generates threats. But you will see people use it as a ranged pull, and you know, some people will say, oh, you shouldn't do that because then you might not have it when you really need it. There's also a treasure chest in here. There's not usually anything particularly major in it. There used to be some fancy earrings in there, but apparently not anymore. Right, we've got two sets of fire sand. Again, put them in the powder chamber. Push the lever. Now, this is... Make sure you pick this up before you go to the boss arena. This guy, the Icarus Ire, is a mechanics boss. There are not a huge number of mechanics bosses in the game, but as a tank, what you want to do is pull him away from people. Our healers decided to go AFK or something. Brilliant. And it's got itself locked out. So what you want to do... Oh, the kid was crying. What you want to do is pull the Icarus Ire into the explosion of the blasting cap, which makes it split. I'm probably going to die here. Do I have any potions? Yes, I do. No, don't kill the blasting cap. And that's our first KO. Generally speaking, if you have got an emergency, like you've got a crying kid, or somebody's calling you away, or somebody's interrupting you, it is generally polite to very quickly type BRB or something into chat, because if people assume that you're just following them, then issues like that can occur. They can still do this as long as they know what's happening. They just need to get the blasting cap to blow up the Ffxiv, the little ones. It'll split them one more time into loads of tiny ones, and there we go. I got it. Yeah, that's not an upgrade. Right, so that's the Ffxiv anyway. I was hoping all they did was they let the bomb blow up the last the 4 or whatever it was blobs, splits it into more, and then you can actually kill them. Right, there's 2 routes going for this section. I'm going to show you the shorter route. Well, we can't get back up if we go down into this pit. These enemies can. Try not to step in the cone for gas shell. The poison's not massively nasty, but again, it's as a tank, it's all about mitigating as much damage as you can, and the standing in crap that you can avoid is a dumb thing to do. You'll see there are a load of mobs down there, and we can avoid those just by coming up here. If you are tanking, you'll notice that the mages tend to stand an awfully long way back. If you are playing a mage, white mage, red mage, black mage, any of the casters, try not to. There are very few AoEs that melee mobs do that will reach you back there anyway, but more importantly, it makes it harder for tanks or melee to readjust if things go after you. It also makes it harder for certain kinds of stacking mechanics if you are stood so far away. You know, a little bit of a safe distance, fine. An entire room away, not so much. Again, some random potions in there. And this really cool looking corridor. Again, take time if you can to really check out the care that's been put into these. This is the Cold Throne. Slaves no more. Free. Free. And this is the final boss. This guy is Gaius the Great, and he is not very happy. There's a few ways that you can do this fight. You'll notice if you look around the room that there's a level X boulder up there. There's also a boulder down here. Once you get him down to a certain percentage of hit points, which will be right now, he will go up here. He will break down this boulder fairly quickly. And he will let out more of his friends, which will spawn up there. Those friends will run all the way down to the other boulder. And they'll break through the wall down there. These days, you can basically ignore them. Although apparently they're not going to. Because you can basically blitz this boss down. You actually waste a lot of time killing the servants. Oh shit. And he did. What will happen is the others will break down the wall and a swarm of ads will then come and blitz over your party. That's generally quite nasty if that happens, but if you just focus down the boss, it rarely gets to that point unless your party is really rubbish. And these days, it shouldn't be. Good work, everyone! Thanks for the run. I'm going to this is as per usual, bow at the end. Just before we leave, you'll notice that there's a big door over here. We can assume that this was something important. It's really nicely lit. It's one of the... Whenever there's a fancy lighting effect like this, it tends to make even the slightly lower resolution textures look really cool. The lighting effects in the game can be really, really nicely done. But unfortunately not always. I'm not used to that kind of clink system sound. I don't normally have it that high. Right. So there we go. Those are the first 3 dungeons done. Does the Stone Torch have anything else to say? No. Okie dokie. Lead goblins. Where are they? Lead goblins. Oh, I know where lead goblins are. They're over here. Let's go do that while we are here. Level 27 though. At this rate, our brand new ring will be almost finished with. We are literally 10 levels higher than we should be at this point. Roughly, anyway. Something I meant to do as I was looking back at stuff. That overlaps my my fancy graphic at the top. This bit here quite nicely curves around the XP bar. Yeah, you can actually turn this off, but it's a handy thing for newer players, and I'm keeping it on the screen just so that you guys can keep progress, because I know where I am. What does Trauma Queen do? Is that the... It's a dungeon unlock quest, Trauma Queen, but I can't remember which one. Oh, that's the Wondrous Palace, I believe. The unlock quest for that. I like the Wondrous Palace. It's a nice dungeon, but it is optional. Unless you're leveling a scholar, in which case you have to go there at least once. Cool thing over in the background there. We'll be going there at some point. Level 49, I think. Something like that. If you remember, we came here to kill these really cute bogies, and I didn't actually comment on how damned cute they are, but if you really look at them, they are super duper cutie little things. But further round here, there are some lead goblins. Which we shall murderize. Almost missed that. So you need 4 of these. If you notice, some of the combat text has got an exclamation mark after it, and some of it has got 2 exclamation marks after it, and some of it is different sizes. If it's got 1 exclamation mark after it, it is a direct hit, which is kind of like a mini crit. And then if it's got 2, it is a crit direct hit. And they tend to be massive. There we go, that's that done. Gladiator 22. Upper Lenosha Oakwood. Yes. Right. I'm going to return. I'm also going to go to the loo. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I return. Let us continue. What's this guy unlock? It could happen to you. I think this might be the gold source for unlock quest. Yes, it is. We shall ignore that for now. If you want to go to the gold saucer, that is the way to go. Now you'll notice that he's got the shiny instance battle thing around him. If your level is above 21, which ours most definitely is, it will be synced. So there's more to this than normal. Ah, the Conqueror of Copper Bell returns. Thanks to you, our mining operations can resume, and Uldar will have the materials she needs to rebuild. The entire nation's in your debt, friend. I'll share the good tidings with Papashan the next time I see him. As for you, you want to report to Mamodi. It'll do the woman well to see you alive and in one piece. No. Shut your mouth, you thieving little swine. You stole from me. Don't even think to deny it. But please, sir, I didn't steal nothing. I bought this, paid for it with my own coin. What rot? You refugees are all the same. Couldn't afford maggoty mole meat, much less a choice cut of dodo. I'm going to say it one more time. Give back what you stole, or I'll make you wish you never set foot in this town. By rights, I should turn you over to the brass blades, you know. Help keep the streets safe for law-abiding citizens, but I'm a reasonable man. If you agree to serve me in whatever capacity I require, the authorities needn't hear your crime. Ugh. Need a hero, but I ain't done nothing wrong. 12 has been witness. Please, adventurer, help me, I beg of you. I swear on my mother's grave I didn't steal nothing. I bought this with the coin I saved. I wanted to treat my children to a decent meal. Ooh, I've run faithfully. And who the hell's are you when you're at home? This dog's master? I think that was a bit loud. I've had enough of this. Oop, shite. Whatever he said. I'd forgotten about this battle. But I haven't forgotten about him. I remember where he ties into the next bit of the story. He's a twat. Pardon my language. Again, because we're synced down, we can't use the full combos, so we're back to the Riot Blade one. Just because I can, I'm going to kill these guys. I can't remember whether they actually join in or not, but They were looking at me funny. This is the comedy fight music for slightly more light-hearted fights. Bugger, bugger, bugger! What's the matter, filthy bodyguard? Realising you're a little bit outmatched. Duty complete. He'll get his comeuppance. I ain't getting paid enough for this. Hey! Where the else do you think you're going? Thank you, kind adventurer. Thank you thrice over. Jump, jump. Oop. Here we go again. I'd swear there were more refugees than when I last looked. And you wouldn't be mistaken. But it's been 5 years since the calamity. Why are they only coming here now? Simple, really. Well, a number of hamlets survived the immediate aftermath of the calamity. Many were no longer able to support their communities. The residents found that lands had either been rendered barren or cut off from trade routes, and problems like those aren't easily solved. Though they tried to make the best of it, it was only a matter of time before they were forced to abandon their homes and seek a new life in the city. I see. But the calamity affected the whole realm, didn't it? Is the same thing happening in the other cities? If the talk's true, yeah. Though perhaps our situation is more pronounced. Uldar has a reputation for being prosperous, so it's natural that the refugees would try their luck here first. My heart goes out to them, it truly does, but I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't apprehensive. I hope their presence doesn't foment lawlessness in the city. Well, things do take a turn for the worse. We always have the immortal flames. I dare say the brass blades would welcome their help. The heroes of the Garlean Empire patrolling the streets for riffraff? It may well come to that. Impoverished and desperate as they are, you may be sure that some of the refugees will turn to crime. You know what this place is like. If you've no coin, you've no hope. What will become of our city? Not all refugees are bad, mind you. Some are able to find employment and lead honest lives. Dodo tenderloins. Get your dodo tenderloins. Guaranteed cheapest in Thanalan. Thank you for your custom, madam. Please come again. Looking around, you think that Uldar was well on its way to recovery. But peer through the veil of prosperity and you'll see no end to the misery and suffering. Not a huge fan of that cutscene. I think it's a little bit... I don't think it's particularly well written. Madam, are you alright? But we did see her in the background, so we know she was being truthful about buying that, and this conversation was very recently had. What now? You mean to threaten a defenceless citizen? What? Saw her buy that meat, you say? That's absurd. Aye, as did I. Leave the poor woman alone, you damnable vulture. Who said that? Grr, I will overlook this, but just this once. What a wanker. God bless you, adventurer. If you hadn't come along when you did, who knows what that monster might have done. It don't bear thinking about. Yeah, that cutscene is... I know why it's there. I know it's there to inform me, but it's just a little bit too exposition-y. The dialogue is very natural. All's well that ends well. Hi, Thancred. We meet again. Pray do not mistake my intent, for it is always honourable, but I have been watching you ever since you departed, Uldar. You remember that he didn't wave us off. He left immediately. You played the part of envoy to perfection, confident as a young woman on a diplomatic mission should be, yet unfailingly courteous to your betters. And when your travels led you into the midst of danger, you faced it without so much as a flinch. You, my lady, are quite a marvel, and I confess to being quite taken with you. But my lavish praise continues. Most of all, I was struck by your readiness to aid those in need, even when words bore the reward you could expect to receive. Such selflessness is a rare thing in this day and age. All of which leads me to conclude that you are indeed the one whom I have been looking for, an adventurer possessed of a very rare set of qualities. To be sure, your rescue of that damsel in distress was more of a happy accident, but rescue her you did, and that is what matters in the end. I feel I should mention at this point that I also harbour a burning interest in a certain talent of yours. I speak of your visions. You have been experiencing visions, have you not? Well, it just so happens that I know a woman who shares your talents and can help you to understand it. She and I belong to the same organisation, and we should both be delighted beyond words if you would agree to join our cause. Naturally, there are benefits to being part of such a collective. For one, we should be glad to assist you in realising your potential as an adventurer. You need not give me your answer now. Think upon it, and if you feel moved to help us, as I pray you shall, speak with Memodi, the ever-lovely and youthful mistress of the quicksand. Tell her the signs of the seventh dawn have found their woman, and she will tell you where to find us. And this is where things really do start kicking off, so to speak. We've had our initial forays into the 3 starter dungeons. And now the world is going to open up for us even more. Things like that are becoming ever more common, I'm afraid. Don't worry though, if you work hard you'll probably be alright. Saying that, if you ever find yourself in a spot of bother, come and see me. Just don't go pestering me every time you graze your knee, eh? Of course I do enjoy hearing tell of a gentleman's woes with the women folk from time to time. Same lines as she was using earlier. Demajen! Sorry to keep you waiting, I was just providing guidance to a fresh off the carriage adventurer. By God, it's good to see you safe and well. To look at you, no one would ever guess you'd been hard at it with giants in the dark. I never doubted for a moment that you'd succeed, of course, and neither did Passion, which ain't to say you won't be overjoyed. Before I forget, there's a lass here who wants a word with you. Didn't actually know your name, but hearing a description I knew who she meant right away. Hi. It's Edda. Thank you for sparing the time. I realise you don't know me, but I've been longing to speak with you for a while now. My name's Edda. I'm an adventurer like you, though I'm not very good at being one, if truth be told. I know I was adventuring with my friends in Gridania when... I'm sorry. We were in Gridania when the leader of our party was killed. His name was Ffxiv, and he and I were to be wed in the spring. You may not remember him, but to say that he remembered you would be an understatement. He'd sing your praises from dawn to dusk. He saw you for what you are, you see, an adventurer's adventurer, and swore that he would like to be you, or to be like you, one day. I believed that he would have succeeded had a fiend not robbed him of the chance. Since that day I've thought long and hard about giving up adventuring. But when I think of the woman you are, of all that you've achieved, I find that I'm inspired, just as Ffxiv once was. And so I've decided to start again as an adventurer. I'll go back to the village of my birth and begin my training anew. But I wanted to meet you first to ask you for your name. Demajen Thornley. Demajen Thornley. I shan't forget. Thank you, Demajen Thornley. I pray that we will meet again. Fare you well. And we do meet her again, in less happy circumstances. Adventuring can be a cruel bleeding business. Time was I didn't know why anyone would bother. When they first asked me to take charge of the guild here, I didn't want aught to do with it, with you lot. Thought it'd be a right pain in the arse looking after you all. But against my better judgment, I decided to accept the post, and I'm full glad I did. I feel privileged to be part of your lives. And that goes double for yours, Demajen. Yeah? What do you say? You want to know about the signs of the seventh dawn? Ah, they're beginning to move in earnest then. Listen, Demajen, the signs ain't no ordinary folk, and the work they do ain't no ordinary work. I know full well how capable you are, but even you'd think twice about attempting some of the stuff they do. Knowing that, if you're still certain you want to get involved, I'll tell you what I can. Do. Oh, must remember to go to the Alchemist Guild as well. Maddie's ready to tell you what she knows about the signs of the seventh dawn. So, you want to know more then, do you? Well, ain't that a surprise. I swear, if I painted certain death on one door and limitless wealth on the other, 9 out of 10 adventurers go through the first, and the other bloke wouldn't be able to choose on account of being all darn. Anyway, don't say I didn't warn you. First of all, if you're wondering whether you can trust these signs of the seventh dawn, you can. They're good people who've made it their mission to solve some of Eorzea's more pressing problems. Of course, that ain't no small task, and so they're always looking for dependable individuals to join them. Individuals like you. Now, I've been given leave to tell you where to find the signs, but you must promise to keep this information to yourself. As you can probably imagine, it's something Eorzea's enemies would very much like to know. The signs are headquartered in Vesper Bay out in Western Thanlon. The place you're looking for is called the Waking Sands. Give your name to whoever's at the entrance and you'll be let in. You're moving in demand, Demajen, and the days ahead promise to be busy, but I hope you won't forget your dear old friend Ramodi. Drop in and tell me how you're faring from time to time, you hear? Right. Well, I said my piece. Off you go. So we're now going to go and meet the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. And by now I mean after we've gone to the Alchemist Guild. Because we need to go and talk to Severin. You've come on behalf of Demajen. Why, I just furnished him with a fresh batch of my special creations last week. I realise the man's services are in demand, but it would be physically impossible for him to exhaust the entire supply so soon. Stolen, you say? Unfortunate turn of events indeed, if not entirely unexpected. You see, the man is something of a genius, and genius is often misunderstood by modest minds. Trust me, I speak from extensive personal experience. Yes, great minds must band together in trying times, lest the realm be deprived of our talents, and so I command you, deliver this parcel to Demajen with all speed. He's the headmaster of the guild master of the Alchemist Guild, and suffice it to say that he's a little bit of a pompous, arrogant get. Very bright, as a lot of pompous, arrogant gets tend to be, but doesn't quite have the delightful personality of somebody with a little bit of modesty, shall we say. Right. Got some... Okay, so we are here to do the level 25 quest. And we want to go up to the Lich Yard, which is the slightly old-fashioned term for a graveyard. And we want to go and meet Aldis, who is all the way over here. And yes, as I suspected, it is an instanced battle. I can't remember what voice I was doing for Aldous. I like a woman who keeps me waiting. It nurtures the sense of anticipation. It's been 7 years since Mila's father was laid to rest here. He was mean and stubborn, an old goat through and through, but for gods, when he danced with sword in hand, it was pure poetry in motion. Mila's right. There's no way I could know what it was like for her back then, forced to replace her father under such terrible circumstances. And who might you be? Another of Leovold's lackeys? Master Leovold has been most distressed since learning of your return. This is unacceptable. Your master does not deserve your loyalty, kitten. When you've outlived your usefulness, he'll dispose of you like so many others. Believe me, I speak from personal experience. Say what you will, I will not be swayed. She looks awfully determined to kill me. Still, I'm not really in the mood to play. Mind stopping her, Demajen? No pressure, but I'll be evaluating your performance. You would die for this scum? Very well. Reader movements, Demajen. It's not exactly high literature. Yeah, well, this isn't exactly pressing. You'll find the more you play this, the more that you automatically react to the ground markers. They're, unless you're unfortunate enough to suffer with some kind of colour blindness, and there are colour blind options in the game, you'll find that your eyes do pick up the outlines of them quite nicely, even if you're focused on other areas in the screen. I don't know whether the colourblind options in the game are any good. But they are there. There we go. Straightforward. You've gotten stronger. Good. I'm glad Milo has a woman like you to rely upon. She's her father's daughter, a leader of men, a true warrior, and an obstinate woman who lets her feelings cloud her judgment. Which is why she needs to be surrounded by dependable people who will give her good counsel and keep her temper in check, now more than ever. Stick by her. She needs you more than she knows. I'll do what I can. Thank you. I know this business with Leovold and the Alarcon has everyone on edge, but it's almost over now. You've got my word. I owe it to old man to put an end to this, to give him peace in Thal's realm by making that bastard Leovold finally answer for his crimes. Remember what I said, Demajen? Now go. She's probably wondering where you are. What am I doing? do. Why are you staring at me like that, Demajen? Is something the matter? You're behaving rather oddly. Well, I'm afraid I have no news regarding the eloquence movements. I remain confident that we will find them soon though, so keep your blade sharp. Next quest at level 30 gives us shield swipe, and that's the final gladiator quest. God, those green gloves are vile. But the stats. Okay, don't really. Suppose we go and do this now because the XP is better. Or rather, the XP has a little bit more of an impact at these lower levels. Where actually is he? I've forgotten. Oh, he's still over there, isn't he? There, in fact. You should prepare my French accent. I don't know why. Sound a little bit more like Poirot. It is an ounce of compassion in you, friend, I beg of you. Retrieve for me the tools of my trade, for I am none other than Jandalin there. So you've got his scissors, his comb, and his shampoos and dyes. Could this be? Yes! I can feel it. The light returns to my eyes. Power courses to my fingers. I live. And as I live, this unspeakable embodiment of ugliness but die. Begone, foul demon. And so I ask, how do you feel, madam? Why, it's as if in but a single magnificent moment I travelled beyond the void and returned to life as the embodiment of all that is beautiful in the world. Could it be? Yes, it must. How else to explain such power? You are the one who's coming with foretold, yes. You are the aesthetician. Aesthetician, something like that. In the flesh, madam, I am Jandalin, crafter of quizzes so divine that Menfina herself doth begrudge my clientele their beauty. But let us speak of you, madam, for where a moment ago stood a fashion-challenged frump, now there stands a beauty reborn. And you are the one I must thank for reviving my soul that I might once again bestow my gifts on a realm bereft of beauty, a kindness I intend to repay in full. Do you fear that your own hairstyle is becoming passé? Fear the spectre of ugliness threatening to consume you? Fear not, friend, for it shall not survive my wrath. As the madam dances, as the madam before you, as this very realm we call home, for in a beast of unfathomable sharpness you shall rise anew. My clients have been known to make reservations moons, even years in advance, but you shall know no such troubles. No, for proving a staunch ally to his good taste. When all others turn a blind eye, I gladly place myself
at your beck and call. Yes, the next time you find yourself plagued by aesthetic ennui, you need only ring the crystal bell from the comfort of any inn-room at which you have taken up lodgings. Nod. Jean Dolane shall listen to the scene, yes, in a flash. The dreary, uninspired life you have hitherto known shall end. You shall travel to the realm beyond and return to us as a beauty reborn. I give you this as a token of the trust between us. Treasure it, for it is the key to a world of aesthetic wonders even ordinary women shall never know.
Oh, Master Jean, do come back. I've not made my next appointment. So very strange. Almost as strange as my French accent, which is, quite frankly, appalling. But yes, we can now use the esthetician in an inn-room for 2,000 gil. Why you would want to turn yourself from that into that is quite beyond me. And the token gives us a freebie to try out. There are quite a few hairstyles in the game that you cannot choose, or at least unless they've changed it, that you can't choose at character creation. You have to use from the esthetician. I may be wrong on that one. I know that's how it used to be. Okay, so you know how I was saying that you want Horizon to be your free point? This is the reason why. You're going to go to Vesper Bay quite a lot. Mind you, if I thought about it, you can actually get the boat from Limsa straight to Vesper Bay. It may or may not be quicker than this run. I'm sure somebody's timed it at some point, but I have not. Bubbling Bernie. Since somebody is facing off against Bubbling Bernie, we're going to go and help that. A red mage, in fact. You'll notice that we've been synced down to level 18, so we don't have access to some of our higher level abilities. Same critique from before continues to apply. You'll also notice that this guy has a chocobo. Fighting with him. We will get one of those at some point. So this is Vesper Bay, and this here is the Waking Sands, and you will be here a lot. This is Tataru, who is quite frankly adorable and a little bit psychotic. Probably 50-50, to be honest. There's something just a little bit sinister about her at times. Deep in the desert of my heart, a lonely flower blooms, yearning for the heavens above, to quench my thirst for you. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la. What? I would thank you not to sneak up on me like that. Now, please be advised that this is private property. Unless you have pertinent business here, I must ask you to... Here at the behest of Thancred. My sincerest apologies. May I please have your name? Loes. Demajen Thornley. Demajen. Ah, here you are. Ahem. I bid you welcome to the Waking Sands, headquarters of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. My name is Tartaru, and I look forward to assisting you during your time with us. Ta-da! The antecedent is within the solar. I shall let her know to expect you. So we get to go down into the Waking Sands, which is instanced. In fact, it's doubly instanced because various story things go down here. So you get into this main area here. Over in this room there will be a rolling selection of NPCs that do various things, changes during the course of the story. Over there is absolutely nothing. You never get to go through that other door. And through here is the... don't know who this is actually. Just a random person. But through there is the solar, which is basically a meeting room. I take it you're Demajen Thornley. Tattoo is sent word that you'd arrived. I'm not entirely sure how, because we got here first. Lady Minfilia has eagerly awaited you coming. This way, if you please. So we are going to... Is that any better than the one we're wearing? Not really. I'll have it anyway. So we get to meet Minfilia, who is annoying, badly voice acted.
So you're the adventurer of whom I've heard so much. Well met, friend. My name is Minfilia, and I lead the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I have awaited your coming. Please, be at ease. You are among friends here. No doubt you are ripe to burst with questions. But have patience. All will be revealed in time. First, let me begin by telling you who we are and what we do. We are the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, an order that transcends political boundaries. Our single objective is the preservation of the future of Eorzea. Among our gravest concerns are the godlike beings known as the Primals. Their existence is a bane upon Eorzea, nay, the world at large, and we have striven to find a lasting solution to the threat they pose. Our order is home to a number of individuals who, like you, possess a rare and special talent. This talent takes various forms, but one holds particular interest for us. Tell me, have you ever experienced a sudden, inexplicable loss of consciousness? Have you ever had the sensation of being pulled away from reality? Felt as though you were hovering in space? A mind without a body? All these things are the manifestations of your talent. Yours is the power to transcend the boundaries of the soul, a power known as the Echo. The Echo allows you to pass through the walls of a man's soul and hear the resonations of his past. You will be there in his memories and see things as he saw them. You may even interact with that which you see, though you cannot change the outcome of events. For another blessing, The echo will enable you to know a man's mind even if you cannot comprehend his words. In short, the echo is a truly extraordinary power, and this power is strong within you. It is only a shame that we cannot use it whensoever we choose. That's right. I too possess the echo. With that established, let us return to the subject of the primals. So long as they exist, the realm cannot take so much as a single step towards true peace. Measures must be taken. Measures which transcend boundaries, be they of faction, race, language, or creed. And to do so, the Scions require the aid of those with our talent. Make no mistake, the Echo will be instrumental in dealing with the primal threat. Without it, we cannot hope to save the realm. I know not what it is you desire for yourself, nor what it was that first brought you to Eorzea. But I firmly believe that the power we possess was given to us for a purpose. Why else would the gods entrust man with a gift so extraordinary, if not to have him use it? And so I implore you, lend us your power.
Naturally, your aid will not go unrewarded. We're fortunate to have a number of influential allies, and a word from me, they will gladly afford you certain privileges that might otherwise be denied you. I'm not entirely sure why this bit isn't voice acted. The right to employ retainers, for example. Are you familiar with them? They are individuals who may be relied upon to manage your assets and belongings on your behalf. The papers you requested, my lady. Thank you, Totaro. The pleasure is mine, my lady. By way of a welcoming gift, I have taken the liberty of adding your name to the Retainer's Registry. As of now, you are entitled to employ the services of a retainer. You'll need to consult a retainer advocate regarding the particulars of this arrangement, but believe me when I say that retainers will prove invaluable to you in your adventuring endeavours. Let this gesture serve as evidence of our commitment to do all in our power to facilitate your personal objectives. In return, we ask that you aid us to the fullest extent of your talents. A mutually beneficial relationship, I am sure you will agree, and one which serves the greater good besides. Well, that was a veritable lecture, was it not? Forgive me, but it is important that all concerned are aware of what is expected of them. Now, you know our purpose, and what we can offer you. I invite you to consider joining us. When you come to a decision, you may tell me without fear of censure. In good faith, I shall entrust you with our order's password, which our members use to reach one another when afield. It is Wild Rose. Pray, keep it safe. Do 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 do. And that will allow us to hire retainers, and I'll go and show you all how to do that in a bit. And there we are. That is going to do us for now. In fact, I am going to... I'm not too worried about the rest of XP. I'll be back in an hour or so. Anyway, I'm just going to go and play some other stuff with friends. So, for the moment, that's the end of that episode. It's 2 hours, 2.25 hours. That's not bad. I shall be back later. Oh man, those green gloves are horrible. Anyway, doodle pip.